Hi, I'm Phyllis from southernfrugal.com. Well, we got some whole grain wheat from, let you see it. This is from Whole Foods, and I got it, it's probably been a month ago now. And so what I've done is I've read up in the booklet that I got with the Vitamix on how to grind whole grain flours. So that's what we're going to do now. I need just a little over a cup. So it says that if you grind up 3/4 of a cup, that will give you 1 cup plus 2½ teaspoons. So that's what we're going to do. Not exact measurements, but that's about 3/4 of a cup. So we're going to put that in the grain little beaker. It's a much smaller. Let me show you the difference. And the blades in this one are different. And this is the main one I usually use, which is 64 ounces. So there are the blades in that. And the blades are definitely different in the smaller one. Plus I have a smaller tamper for it. So the directions say not to grind it for more than a minute because I think it would heat up. So I'm going to just follow the directions exactly. I'm going to put in 3/4 of a cup of the whole grain wheat. Put my lid on. Let me turn it up so you can see. And I'm going to take the top off. If I can get it off. There. And I'm going to put in this smaller tamper. And I guess the wheat's going to kind of get up on the sides of it. Hold on, let me move y'all because I want you to be able to see this. Hold on. Okay, I think y'all can see better now. All right. So now we're going to start it out on just the section 1. Let me turn it around. We're going to just start it out on 1, and then we're going to turn it to 10 on the variable speed. Wait a minute. Let me turn it back even further. There. And then we're going to flip it up to high, and we don't want to run it for more than 1 minute. And I need to use my tamper to take anything down from the sides that needs to be gotten down. All right, so here we go. Okay, that was about 45 seconds. Now, since I only did 3/4 of a cup, or only ground 3/4 of a cup, I guess you don't need to grind it quite as long, but it is pretty fine. So I'm going to dump it out in a bowl. It came out pretty, oh, sorry. I'm sorry, I moved y'all. All right, it came out really fine. And I think it does start caking up around the edges. It just says not to run it for more than 1 minute. And it does feel warm. Let me smell it. I don't know what flour is supposed to smell like, but anyway, all we need is a cup for the bread that I'm going to make. So this was pretty easy. Now the directions did say that after you grind it, you can keep it in the freezer for up to a year, or in the refrigerator up to a month. So that's interesting to know. And of course we got flour now with no preservatives. So I've already got my yeast proven itself. this is about 3/4 of a cup of water. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and add some non-fat dry milk. Now there's no specific recipe for this. I'm just making probably what's going to be a couple of loaves of whole wheat bread. And of course, always in whole wheat bread, you've got regular flour also. Otherwise, it wouldn't rise very well. All right, so we've got probably, I don't know, 1/3 of a cup of non-fat dry milk. I'm just going to mix that in with the yeast because they actually like that non-fat dry milk, and this will make the bread have a little bit of a softer crust. All right. Yeah, those yeast love that non-fat dry milk. All right, so now I'm going to use 1 part whole wheat flour that I just ground up and 2 parts of, this is just gold medal bread flour. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. I'll just put 1 cup in, and then I'm going to go ahead and add my yeast and water and the non-fat dry milk. I'm just going to mix that up a little bit. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and put probably about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Oh, that's a little too much. About 1.5 teaspoons for it to do it. And just mix that up with my little whisk. Alright, so now I'm going to add more water. So let's see, what I had in there was about 2/3 of a cup of water. So I'm going to add about another 2/3 of a cup. And again, this is no specific recipe. I'm just kind of throwing it together really. Sorry for all the noise. Just mix that up real good. And what the salt does is it will inhibit the yeast from rising quite so much. Alright, so now I'm going to put in 1 cup of the whole wheat flour that I just ground up. Let's see if it made about a cup, is what it should have made. So yeah, 3/4 a cup of the grain ground up really makes right at 1 cup. Perfect. Alright, or a little less than 1 cup in this case. So I'm going to dump that in. Now it's time for my hands. I'll go ahead and get out my extra cup of just regular bread flour. See if I can't mix this up with a spoon real quick. Alright, so we've already got everything in there that we're going to use other than more flour. So I'm going to add the flour till it gets to the consistency I'm looking for. And I'm really wanting to make 2 little round loaves of bread with this. You know, kind of like the loaves that you get at Publix, shaped sort of like that. Alright, time to put my hands in now. So, I might need a little more than 1 cup, but we'll see. So I'm going to mix this all up. Now, I'm going to need the whole cup, maybe a little more. Until it gets to the right kneading consistency. Yeah, it's definitely going to need more. Alright. Start out with about 1/3 more. See how that works. Because I want to get it to the place where I can knead it without it sticking to my hands. Yeah, a little more. Alright, that's probably going to do it right there. Now, I forgot to add my oil, but it's not too late, provided I can get this open. Oh, there we go. So I'm just going to add a couple of teaspoons of just regular vegetable oil. So 1, 2. Now the yeast love to eat the oil too, so. And by the way, when I was proving out the yeast, I added about 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. Alright, now I need to get it off my hands. To do that, I'm going to use a little more flour. Yeah, I'm a big advocate of kneading with your hands. The warmth of your hands. The yeast love it. They love it. Alright, let's see if it's going to stick now. No, it's not. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just roll that off my hands. Okay, it smells very good already. I love the smell of the yeast. Now it does take whole wheat flour a little longer to rise than it does when you have the just regular white flour. Okay, so now we're going to knead all this right, incorporate it right in with the big ball of dough. And you can knead it like that, or you can put it down and pull it over and push it away from you, pull it over and push it away like that. Or you can just keep pushing it over on itself. Any way you do it. So what you're really doing is stretching the gluten in the flour. Now I like to do it like this. Somehow it's just easier if I hold it up in the air and keep turning it over and over. Now it's a little sticky, so I'm just going to put a little more flour in the bottom. But it shouldn't stick to your hands, you know. If it does, you need a little more flour. And what we're going to do is knead this for probably another, I'm going to say 5 or 6 minutes. And if I can find a finger that's clean enough, I'm going to cut my camera off and we'll be right back as soon as I've kneaded it. Alright, be back. Okay, I have kneaded the dough actually for about 7 minutes. And you want to knead it until it looks like a rubber ball, really. And this time I'm not even going to clean out my bowl. I'm just going to put a little oil in there. About 1 tablespoon. Pinch that bottom together. Just turn it around in the bowl and then flip it over. Make sure you grease the whole top of it. So then we're going to put some plastic wrap over it. And I've got my heating pad over there. I use my heating pad. It's just about the only thing we ever use the heating pad for, is to help dough to rise. And even though it's warm in here, I'm still going to put the heating pad on low just to give it a consistent temperature. And I've got a little metal rack there. Put my pot holder on it because I don't want the metal to transfer the heat to the bottom of the bowl. Alright, so there you go. We're going to let it rise. It's probably going to take it 1.5 hours, maybe even longer, because it definitely takes whole wheat longer to rise. But I wanted to show you the little book. This is a whole grain cookbook that came with my Vitamix, and I've been wanting to, make some whole grain for a long time now. Anyway, today we finally just did it. Now the rest of my whole grain, I think I bought 5 pounds, I can keep in my freezer. So what I'm going to do is just put it in this little plastic carton. and actually just put it in the freezer door so I can keep it up to a year. And you can also keep the ground up flour up to a year in your freezer and up to a month in the refrigerator. Alright, so we'll be back when this is doubled in bulk, and we'll divide it out in 2 little small loaves. Alright, we'll be back. Okay, my flour dough has doubled in bulk, and I've greased a large baking sheet, and while my hand is still greasy, we'll punch it down, and then just very simply pinch it in half. Kind of turn it over and make it into a little kind of round disc. Pinch it together at the bottom. Just make it a little round disc like that. I'll place it on my baking sheet. Move so y'all can see. All right, I'll take the other half. Just kind of folding it under, pressing the air out of it, and then just pinch it together again on the bottom. Place that on my baking sheet. Alright, so now, push this down so you can see. Get that grease off my hands. And so all I'm going to do is place it right back on the hot pad over here and let it double up in bulk again. I'm going to spread them a little bit apart. Alright, so we're just going to cover these up. I'm going to use my same little saran wrap that I used on the bowl for one of them. Just loosely put that over. And then take me another piece and loosely put it over this one. Alright, so now we're going to wait for those to double in bulk again, and then we'll be ready to bake them. So we'll be back. Okay, our bread has doubled in bulk, and I must say I was surprised at how fast it did rise. So I'm going to take the saran wrap off of it, and I'm going to bake it in the oven at 400 degrees for probably about 20 minutes. Now, in this case, I am going to bake it on the bottom rack because I'm using my pans that are pretty thick on the bottom. So once this gets done, we'll be back. Okay, the bread's done. I just took it out of the oven, so I'm going to flip it over on these racks to cool. So I'm going to let it cool maybe about 30 minutes, then I'll slice it and we're going to see what it's going to taste like. Anyway, it smells pretty good cooking. It's going to have a hard crust. Now it smells, it sounds hollow. That's how you know it's done. Alright, we'll be back when this is cool and we can slice it. Alright, I wanted to give you a little closer look. Wait, there you go. Yeah. Anyway, let's see how it smells. It smells real, what's the word? Toasty. Toasty. Anyway, it smells real good. We'll be back when it's cooled. Alright, a while ago I said the bread smelled crispy. It actually smells nutty, sort of, to me. Alright, let's just cut this little one here, smaller one. Use a serrated knife. Just kind of saw back and forth. It's still warm. I couldn't wait till it gets completely cool. Always like the end piece. Oop. There's what it looks like. Smells divine. So I'll put some butter on that. It's still warm, but I don't know if it's warm enough to melt the butter or not. Yeah, it is. All right, we're going to give it a taste. It definitely tastes different than when you use the store-bought whole wheat bread. In fact, it tastes really good. Oh yeah, it's definitely got a nutty taste. Really good. Okay. This is a winner. Here's what the smaller loaf looks like. Good texture. Smells really good. And it definitely has just a slightly nutty taste, I think. All right. We'll see y'all next time. Hi, I had to come back and report a little bit on the bread. It was delicious. I'm just stunned that it could be that much different tasting than when you buy whole wheat flour in the store. So now I was just talking with Mr. Bucky. I mean, at the mountain property, I think we have enough area. I want to grow my own wheat. I do. Because now I know you can grind it up in the Vitamix, make your own flour. It's just different than any whole wheat bread I ever tasted. It's a little slightly nutty taste. Tastes really super fresh. It was just delicious. So I had to add this because I went back in, of course, and got another piece and put butter on it, and I just warmed it up just a little bit to get that butter melted. The texture of it was great. It was just delicious. What can I say? And a special thanks to, let me get the name right, Sandlapper Sue 02. She wrote back and told me that the little wheat things are called wheat berries. Yeah, wheat berries. So I didn't know what they were called. So wheat berries is what you need to grind up to make whole wheat bread. So I'm thinking muffins. I'm just thinking all kinds of stuff. And it definitely is different than the whole wheat flour you get in the store. Very different. Tastes much, much better. All right, so we will see y'all next time.